As a business advisor to many companies and many businesses, I've had the privilege of, sometimes sitting into board meetings, team meetings, and I notice a lot of things. I'm always playing the observer, I'm always playing this third eye in the business, but I notice a lot of things, and that's why I'm building this video for you today. Because I noticed 4 very powerful things. When teams are engaged, I notice these 4 things. And so I'd like to share this 4 with you today, alright? So the first point I'm going to share with you of an empowered and engaged team is that the team talks more than the boss. Yeah, and just the opposite of that is when in team meetings I notice where the boss is always talking. There's always his or her voice that's just sounding out the room. And why does this happen? You see, what gets done more in the business is when the boss is talking or when the team is talking. You see, when we have a very quiet culture and the employees just don't say anything, there are a couple of reasons why this happens. Number one, they simply don't care about the company. That's why they're not contributing. Yeah, number one. Number two, maybe there is this the boss is always right culture where employees just feel that, whatever I say or whatever I suggest, the boss is always right, and they don't listen. So when you start having that kind of culture, how empowered would the team be? Not really. Number 2, and I think this is one of the most important aspects to noticing if a team is engaged or not, is when team meetings begin with progress reports. So I notice a lot of team meetings, and some team meetings start like this, The boss sits down, boom, everybody is waiting, and the boss goes, okay, all right, guys, what problems do we have today? What do we want to talk about today? And there's no agenda, there's no progress report, there are no numbers, but it's just one super fantastic doctor sitting in the front and ready to solve problems. So when team meetings start like this, they do go on for a pretty long time because there are a lot of problems in business. But what are the progress reports? And what are the team reporting? Number one, when there's a progress report, team members know what they're accountable for. They know which area they have to affect. They also take accountability, but they're also empowered to make changes. And part of inside that meeting is also talking a little bit about what they can do if the numbers are not met. And if the numbers are met, you celebrate together. But what are the progress reports? Are there 90-day plans? Are there SMART goals being discussed in team meetings? Now this is number 2 and very, very important as part of an empowered meeting. Number 3 is a very, very big one. I notice a lot of team meetings that are empowered and engaged, they're always discussing forward plans. They're discussing moving forward, and they're talking about future plans, they're talking about strategies that you're implementing. Just the opposite are team meetings that are always discussing problems. Have you ever noticed? And you see, when you're discussing problems, you're always discussing ways to handle challenges that you had, difficult customers, difficult employees, difficult situations, mistakes, firefighting. There's a lot of that, and that stuff never ends. And this is the thing. In an empowered and engaged team meeting, are you talking about stuff that moves you forward, or are you just talking about stuff to fix problems today? Number 4, if a team is engaged, what we start to notice is that meetings are kept very, very productive and very, very short. So for me, a good productive meeting could be anywhere within the hour, 1.5 hours tops. And a long meeting would be one that is over 2 hours, 2.5, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 hours. There are 2 breaks in the middle. People go to the toilet, they get up, they have to stretch, Those are really, really long meetings. And just the opposite, when those meetings are getting too long, first it tires employees out. They're inside tons of meetings, and employees don't want to be in that much don't want to spend that much time in team meetings because they just want to get stuff done. Now, why does this happen? Why do long meetings happen? 2 very, very important criteria cause long meetings to happen. Number 1, employees are not prepared. They're not prepared. They don't know what the meeting is about. They didn't get any agenda. They're not sure what's going to be discussed. So they just come in sometimes with an empty notebook and a pen. Yeah. If employees are prepared, they bring in the right reports, they bring in the right decks of slides, they bring in the stuff that they know are going to be discussed so that they can get forward movement. Number one, that's why long meetings. And the second one that causes long meetings is that the leaders are not prepared themselves. If leaders are not prepared, before you have a team meeting with your team, there is already a list of things that you want to discuss, and most of the time, if the leaders are unprepared, even if the employees are unprepared but leaders are prepared, there is some kind of direction, meetings will go chop, and this will keep a lot of forward momentum. You see, one of the things that I notice when meetings are really, really long, when meetings go for 3.5 hours and totally long, is sometimes because there's not enough consistency in those meetings. And so when meetings drag out really long, there are a lot of things to talk about, and perhaps that meeting is only happening once a month or once in 2 months when the boss is free. And that's why the meetings get so dragged out, because there's too much to talk about. And the better version of that is having consistent meetings, but these meetings are very short and productive, and that enables, and even creating an agenda, a very consistent agenda, and shooting out to your team and saying, guys, every weekly meeting we're going to be discussing this. And leaders as well, and sometimes meetings get really dragged out. Why? Because they're having very specific discussions with maybe 1 or 2 managers of 10 people in the room, and the rest of the other 8 are disengaging. They're just going, and so that 1 or 2 are really focused because the boss is talking to them, but the other 8 has just gone into handphone mode. Click, Facebook, click. So sometimes as a leader, you gotta identify when these meetings are actually more relevant to just those 2 people. Take those meetings offline and get back to the agenda where you have everybody connected with you. Chop, 1 hour, bang, get it out of there. All right. So this is very, very powerful, and I just wanted to share this video. Why? Because these observations really, really are things that I get to see in team meetings, but really, if these are things that are happening in your company, either the good parts or the opposites, make sure that you get some changes today. All right. So there you have it, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this powerful video. Like if you like this video, share it, of course, if you think that others need it, other business owners out there, and of course subscribe to Maresa Ng Official, because if you want to be able to get in tune with more and more of these kinds of business insights, don't forget, and I am putting out information like this on a weekly basis. All right, guys, because remember this, having a team is the start, but when you work with other people, you gotta set a tempo, you gotta set a momentum. Why? Because we all want to have great businesses. And remember this, it's not just a great business, but it's also a great life, because being in business is about having more life. Take care and see you next week.